Billah, read the new sabak.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال ويعتمد بيديه على ركبتيه ويستقبل بين اصابعه ومن قوله عليه الصلاه والسلام لانس رضي الله عنه اذا ركع فدع يديك على ركبتيه على ركبتيه وفرج بين اصابعه.
Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. So we've discussed, Alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we've discussed thus far that how you start the salah with the takbir al-tahrima. Then we discussed you recite the sana, then you recite the ta'awudh, you recite the basmallah, which are all sunnat masnoon. It is not the faraz of salah. Then we discussed what is the wajib to recite Surah Fatiha, and then we discussed to recite a short surah or the three of the shortest verses or one long verse. These are the wajibat of the salat. And just to recite that much, when you hear it, you'll understand to the Quran that is a farz of salah, without which salah will not be done. Which is ثم فقرأوا ما تيسر من القرآن, right? So now, after you finished your qiraat, so to say, now what you're going to do next? You're going to proceed to ruku. So we said this. We mentioned this that according to us, what we call this the takbir that you make going between the postures. This is called takbir intiqali. What is called? Like when you go from qiyam to ruku, from ruku back up. This is called takbir intiqali. So we discussed this also, that your takbir intiqali, your takbir should coincide with your intiqal. When you say, this is for the men, the ladies, everyone, as you start saying, going down, say Allahu Akbar. And as you start coming up, say Sami Allahu liman hamida. And when you reach your posture, your required desired posture, then you will stop with your takbir, right? So like that also, yeah, as I said, this is for men and this is for ladies. As you're going down, you say Allahu Akbar. And when you come here, Sami Allahu liman hamida. So you say Allahu Akbar and you go down. So يعتمد بيديه على ركبتيه. He will place his two hands. Now this here in the kitab is for the men, right? I will discuss. I got it here on my phone. I will tell you how one must do it, right? So this is for the men. Remember that, right? ويعتمد بيديه على ركبتيه, and he will place or he will take support, right? Right? بيديه, with his hands, على ركبتيه, upon his knees. Then ويفرج بين أصابعه. So he will grasp his knees with open, look at me here like this. You will grasp the knee like that, right? ويفرج بين أصابعه. You will open up, you will create a gap between his fingers. Again, I repeat, this is for the men. I will discuss the women's one when we finish, right? لقوله, why must he do this? Because لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم, because of the statement of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لأنس, he said to Anas, he said, إذا ركعت أو Anas, when you go into ruku, فضع يديك على ركبتيك, place your hands upon your knees, وفرج بين أصابعك, and create a gap between your fingers, right? There's a proof. So ولا يندب التفريج إلا في هذه الحالة. Now I'll explain you something, that to purposefully create a gap between your fingers, it is not mustahab in the salah except in this position for the men. In other words, there's no other position in salah where you must create a gap. You must purposefully separate your fingers. You understood that? Right? You understood that? Is it clear? وَلَا يَنْدُبُ التَّفْرِيجُ. Tafrij means to open, to create a gap. So creating a gap is not mustahab إلا في هذه الحالة, except in this position when you are in ruku. Why? So this is the remember, as per Sahib Hidaayah's his what you say, his his method. First he mentioned a dalil naqli, then he mentioned a dalil aqli. So the dalil naqli is there's a clear hadith who say, whereas Anas, when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Hazrat Anas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that create a gap. What is the aqli dalil? The aqli dalil is the logical. لِيَكُونَ أَمْكَنَ مِنَ الْأَخْذِ. So you will be more capable of grasping. So if you look at it like this, to grasp is not so, your knees normally big. So like this, if you got your fingers together to grasp it is not, but when you got open, you can grasp it nicely. So he's saying when you've separated between your fingers, it is easier to grasp. So it is yakuna amkan. So amkan means you will have more power to akhti or to grab it, right? Then they say wala ila dhammi illa fi halati sujudi. So here he's explaining another masla here. Wala, so it is wala yandubu, right? Al dhammu, there's a full ibarat. Illa fi halati, and then to purposefully bring your fingers together. This is not mustahab except in what? In sajda. So remember that nicely. In all other conditions, you will leave your fingers on its natural position. You understood that? Naturally. Yes, in ruku, you will purposefully separate between your fingers, right? Right? Again, I repeat, this is for the men. I'm going to explain the women's one just now. And in sajda, you will also purposefully close your fingers to ensure that your fingers are facing the Qibla. Are you with me? Right. وَلَا إِلَى الضَّمِّ إِلَّا فِي. So, right. So besides ruku and sajda, in all other positions, the fingers will be left in its natural position. Right. Right. See there, وَفِيمَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ. In besides this, right, يُتْرَكُ عَلَى الْعَادَةِ. You leave it naturally. So we're speaking about tashahud, etc., etc., right? وَفِيمَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ يُتْرَكُ عَلَى الْعَادَةِ. Right. Then وَيَبْسُطُ ظَهْرَهُ. يَبْسُطُ ظَهْرَهُ basically means, you translate it literally, he will spread out his back. But what this means is, he'll try to straighten his back. In other words, his head and his back will be in a straight line. His head and his back will be in a straight line. That's what it means, right? وَيَبْسُطُ ظَهْرَهُ. Why? لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, because Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم كان إذا ركع, when he used to make ruku, right, بسط ظهره, he would spread out his back, ولا يرفع رأسه, so he wouldn't raise his head. So he doesn't look here, look at me, your back is straight and then your head is up. No. ولا يرفع رأسه ولا ينكسه, and neither would he lower it, right? So in other words, from the head right through to the back, right where your back bends, you have a straight line there, right? So why? Because لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان إذا ركع, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make ruku, right? كان إذا ركع لا يصوب رأسه, right? He would not raise it, ولا يقنته, and neither would he lower it, right? Right. So yeah, yeah. So sawaba, you not raise it, and neither will you lower it. So I told you there must be a straight line. Then, so what is the wazifa? وَيَقُولُ سُبْحَانَ رَبِّيَ الْعَظِيمِ ثَلَاثًا. So the minimum of the sunnat. So just, this will come later on inshallah, but remember, in ruku to recite the tasbih, it is not farz, it is not wajib, right? It is sunnat. And to the minimum of sunnat is to recite 3 times سبحان ربي العظيم ثلاثا ذلك أدناه يعني ذلك أدنى السنة. So if you want to get the minimum reward of sunnah, you must at least recite Subhana Rabbil Azim. You could go more. You could go to 3 or 5 or 7 or 9. Inna Allah witrun yuhibbul witra. Allah Ta'ala is odd. He's one. He loves. So just here, if you are an imam, then you shouldn't go more than 3 or 5 because then you don't want to inconvenience people. But yes, if you're reading namaz on your own, you're reading your sunnahs, or like the ladies that are reading salat by their house, there's no restriction. MashaAllah, inshallah, they can go, they can carry on. They can make 5, they can make 7, they can make 9, right? But as I said, if you are imam, then sallu salata adhafikum. Read the salah of the weakest person. What does it mean, read the salah of the weakest person? Read the salah which the weakest person can manage it, right? So if you want to get the reward of the sunnah, then the minimum of the sunnah is 3. Now, it is not faraz or wajib to recite this. If a person went into, this will come later on, but I'm just preempting here. If a person went into ruku and his body came to a complete standstill and he recited no tasbih at all, you say his ruku is done. There's no sajdahu. But if you want to get the reward of the sunnah, then the minimum is 3. And if you make more than that, obviously you get more reward. So when you are reading your own sunnahs or you're making your tahajjud namaz at night, so please try to go right time to toilet, right? So when you are reading by the house, I mean, you're reading your own sunnahs, etc. You are reading your tahajjud namaz, then you can push it. You can push it, right? But as I said, as an imam, don't push it too much because you're going to inconvenience people. And then again, I want to repeat this point here. To recite the actual tasbih, right? It is not wajib. It is sunnat. So technically speaking, if a person went into ruku and his body came to a standstill, which we term as Aadiel arkan, and he recited nothing, he just, body came, there's no penalty for him. Are you with me? Right. So وَذَلِكَ أَدْنَاهُ. So 3 is the minimum, not for your ruku to be valid, but is a minimum to get the reward of practicing upon the sunnah. You understood that? So وَذَلِكَ أَدْنَاهُ لِقَوْلِ. Because the tasbih, that's why if you look in that kitab, even if you pick up that Fiqhul Muyassar, you'll see there to recite the tasbih, Quran is not from amongst the wajib acts, right? From the sunnah acts, right? So وَذَلِكَ أَدْنَاهُ. So remember that. Don't think now adna means here it's a minimum. So if you don't recite that 3 tasbih, your ruku is not done. This is here, I'm telling you from my side, adna as-sunnah. You understood that? وَذَلِكَ. So technically speaking, if a person went into ruku and their body came to a standstill and they recited nothing, technically there is no penalty because penalty is only when you release out the wajib, right? Is that clear? Right. وَذَلِكَ أَدْنَاهُ لِقَوْلِ الْإِسْلَامِ. Because of, so what's our proof to say that 3 is the minimum of the sunnah? Because لِقَوْلِهِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ, because of the statement of Rasulullah إِذَا رَكَأَ أَحَدُكُمْ, when any one of you make ruku, فَلْيَقُلْ فِي رُكُوئِهِ, then he should say in his ruku, سُبْحَانَ رَبِّيَ الْعَظِيمِ. He should say 3 times, right? ثلاثا, right? وَذَلِكَ أَدْنَاهُ. I tell you, أَدْنَا كَمَالِ الْجَمْعِ. That is the minimum of jam'i, of doing it many times, because 3 is jama, right? Okay, so just again for the men quickly, I'll just recap it. Then I want to tell you about the woman. So you go into ruku, back must be straight, right? And you grasp your knees with open fingers. And if you are young and healthy, obviously, then there must be a straight line, the top of your head, right through till your backbone. This bone here at the back, at the base of your back, where your buttock starts, is called in Arabic azabatu zambi, right? So till there must be a straight line, right? So that was for the men. Then I told you that according to us, the salah of a woman is different, right? And this is proven by Marasil Abu Dawood. So I'll just here briefly give you the lady salah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So a woman won't bend her back straight. First thing, she'll only bend her back enough so that her hands or fingers can reach her ruku. Sorry, reach her ruku, can reach her rukbatain, can reach her knees. So she won't bend completely down. She will just bend that much that her hands can touch her knees, right? That's the first thing. That's different from the men. Men will bend, you make it straight. That's the first thing, right? So a woman's back should be slightly bent during ruku to the extent that she's able to place her fingers on her knees. And then her fingers should be close together. Second difference, men, the fingers will be open, farraja, you tafrij. Women won't make tafrij. They will just place, look at me like this here. They will just place like this, place their hands on their knees, right? Right? And then the second difference, third difference, her knees should be slightly bent. Your knees, in other words, although it says here her knee should be slightly bent, in other words, your leg won't be straight up. It will make like a little bow type of a thing, right? And then the next thing is this here. Her knee should be slightly bent. Her elbow should be placed close to her sides. So when she's putting her hands on her knees, her elbow should be close to her body, right? And the ankles of both feet should be kept together. The ankles of both feet should be kept together. And what, as I told you before, if you look at all the postures of a lady's salat, it is all, in all, it is where she is contracting her body. She is concealing her body. She's not making her body big and broad, whereby she is more exposed. She's basically reducing her exposure. So all of these things here, you look at it, she's not bending so much. She's not opening her legs wide. She's not, etc., etc. She's keeping her body contracted and small because it is astur. Astur means what? There's more parda in it. Right. Okay, so alhamdulillah, there we finished the actual ruku. Now, the next thing. The next thing is now coming up. We're going to discuss coming up from the ruku. Read from the Bismillah. Right. Again, I repeated, I told you, your takbir intiqali. A lot of people are unaware of this. Your takbir must coincide with your movement. The moment you start moving, you start with your takbir. Okay, in this case here, you're going to be making tahmid. As you come up, you say, Sami Allahu liman hamida. I think before we look at the text, let me explain what is happening here. 2, 3 things. First, if you are reading salah on your own, right? Like how you're making, a man is making his sunnat namaz, for example, right? Or a woman or a man, what he must his jamaat salat, right? He's making her own jamaat. Or a woman, she's making her own jamaat by a house. Not she's making her own jamaat, sorry. She's reading her own faras by the house. Or she's reading the sunnats, right? So you are a munfarid or a munfarida. What are you? Munfarid or a munfarida. So according to Imam Abu Hanifa, the munfarid or the munfarida will recite both. Okay, before we come to that, one is called the tasmi' and one is called the tahmid. Tasmi' means to say Sami Allahu liman hamida, and tahmid is to say Rabbana lakal hamd. There are many versions. The longer one you say, the better. Rabbana wa lakal hamd hamdan tayyiban kathiran mubarakan fi mil as-samawati wa mil al-ardi wa mil ma shita min shay'in ba'du, whatever, right? That's called the tahmid, right? So listen, follow this nicely. We listen to this nicely. It will fit easy into the sabak. A man reading a salat alone, whether it is faraz or sunnat, a woman reading salat at home, reading a faraz sunnat, she will make both tasmi and tahmid. She will make both tasmi and tahmid. So she will say, Sami Allahu liman hamida. You will say, Sami Allahu liman hamida. And when she comes into qawma, remember that position after the ruku that's called qawma. Ne? The general standing position in salah, when you stand and you make your qira'ah, that's called qiyam. Ne? And brief that brief moment where you stand after ruku before you go into salah, that's called qawma, right? So the munfarida will recite both the tahmid and, or rather, the tasmi and the tahmid. So in simple words, a woman reading alone aloud, she'll say Sami Allahu liman hamida, and she will say Rabbana lakal hamd. And if Allah Ta'ala give a tawfiq, she read the full dua, you'll get the full rewards. I think that's riwayat comes in Bukhari Sharif also. Rabbana walakal hamd hamdan tayyiban kathiran mubarakan fi mil as-samawati wa mil al-ardi wa mil ma shi'ta min shay'in ba'du. All praise is due to Allah Ta'ala. حمد طيبا مباركا في blessed by ملء السماء as much as the sky وملء الأرض as much as the earth وملء ما شئت من شيء بعد. Imam, right? They make it short and sweet. They make it as long as you want to. But unfortunately, it's long with Salah. But it's supposed to be the other way around. When you're reading with other people, make it as brief and obviously don't compromise on the Sunnah. Don't compromise on the Sunnah. Read the Sunnah Qiraat, read the Sunnah amount of tasbihs, etc. But make it easy for the people, right? Don't make it difficult for them. Right. So now you got that. If you are munfarid, you make tasbih and tahmid. If you are an imam, listen nicely, if you're the imam, then according to Imam Abu Hanifa, you will only make the tasmi', you won't make the tahmid. So in simple words, what that means is the imam will say, you'll stand up and you say, Sami Allahu liman hamida. All right. So if you're the imam, according to Imam Abu Hanifa, you will only say Sami Allahu liman hamida. And then you come up, you pause a moment, and then you go down. You understood that? So, Kumar, you got it? If you're the Imam, according to Hanifa, you'll only say Sami Allahu liman hamida. You'll pause for a brief moment, and you will go down. You won't say Rabbana walakal hamd, etc., etc. Right? What Imam As-Sahibain say, the two students of Imam Hanifa, they say, no, the Imam will make tasmi and he will make tahmid. Right? Got it? And if you are the muqtadi, then so this also applies to the ladies if ever they are making jamaat, maybe Abi must salat in the masjid, so you also make jamaat with you. So you must remember that also, that if the men folk must jamaat, they shouldn't just read salat alone at home. She should call the family and should make jamaat with them, inshallah. You won't get the full reward, but at least it is closer to the original, right? So you make jamaat. So yeah, according to Imam Hanifa also, listen nicely, that the muqtadi or the muqtadiya, whether it's a male or female, whatever, whether ladies reading salat behind the husband, or maybe she was in the haram, or whatever. Now, what she will do, she will, the muqtadi and the muqtadiya will only make tahmid. They won't make what? Tasmiyah. So the Imam says, Sami Allahu liman hamida, and in reply, the muqtadi say, Rabbana lakal hamd. The muqtadi or the muqtadi or whatever will not recite the tasmi as well. So see there, look there. ثم يرفع رأسه. Then now he will raise his head, right? Yani who will raise his head? Who will raise his head? Right. So again, I told you ثم يرفع رأسه, that let your takbir coincide with your movement. Let your takbir coincide with your movement. Don't make it short. So, but right. So once you start moving, right? Just some excitement here in the madrasa. I think one of the boys finished their hifz. So they're giving out some chocolates and some. Pity we can't give our online people. If you could send it through the phone, we'll send them. Got a whole stack of Coca-Colas here and chocolates. What chocolate you got? Lunch bars. The online people are part of the madrasa. We should have given to them also, but pity we can't send through the phone. I see there's enough for everybody. But anyway, big excitement in the madrasa. One of the boys finished his hifz. May Allah Ta'ala accept it. Allah Ta'ala make it a means of sadaqah. So anyway, ثم يرفع رأسه, then he will raise his head, ويقول سمع الله لمن حمده. So there I told you, the Imam will raise his head, right? And he will say سمع الله لمن حمده. ويقول المؤتم, and then the muqtadi will say ربنا لك الحمد. See, I told you, the three Imam Abu Hanifa's opinion, right? That the Imam will say سمع الله لمن حمده, and the muqtadi will reply with Rabbana lakal hamd, right? Okay, let's stop. The time is up, inshallah. So we'll continue with that. But whatever I explained you now, it is coming in the forthcoming ibadah. So if you understood that, then inshallah, the next few ibadat will be very, very easy. Allah Ta'ala accept. Allah Ta'ala accept, put it on our good scales, and Allah Ta'ala make it a means for the shifa of all those who are ill. سبحان الله بحمده سبحانك الله بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك